So next we're going to talk about, after we finish the adjusting entries, we're going to prepare a worksheet. This is an informal document. It's actually 10 columns. And it basically is all the information you're going to need in front of you to continue working from an accounting perspective. It's called a 10-column worksheet. There are 5 steps to it. There are 10 columns, and each one will represent. So the first column will be a debit and credit for a trial balance. Then I plug in the adjustments. Then I do the adjusted trial balance. Then I do the income statement and the balance sheet. So we're going to take a look at it. So here we're going to start. So it's nothing more than a worksheet. There's a heading up there. And the first thing we're going to do is prepare the trial balance. Well, we're going to copy from our previous trial balance. So here is the first 2 columns of the 10-column worksheet. I have a debit and credit for each one. By the way, take a look at my 10-column worksheet. You can see this. Okay, so here's this trial balance was just copied from what you already did. Now, we're going to plug in the adjustments. So one by one, let's go back. The first one we're going to do is the supplies expense. We're just filling in numbers, okay? So I'm going to put a little letter here so I know that it was the first transaction. Okay, and then we're going to put all the rest of them in. So here they are all filled in. These are the 4 journal entries that we just completed in adjusting entries. Next step, we're going to actually total them, and yes, they should balance. And so now we're going to do the adjusted trial balance. And what we're going to do here is we're going to actually move, we're going to go from this column, or these columns here, add or subtract here, and move across. So it's a plus or minus. So it's what you have here, plus or minus, and brings to the adjustments. So kind of looks like this. So I started with 370, nothing was added, so my new adjusted balance is going to be 370. So I'm going to plug it in. So we're going to go down each one and do that, and I'm not going to do them all. We'll do a few. So here's my accounts receivable, plug it in. Now we're going to the supplies. So I had $80 debit, and I'm subtracting. I'm going to subtract credit, okay? So here's the deal. A debit plus a debit, you add. A credit plus a credit, you add. But a debit and a credit, you subtract. That's the rule. And so now I have a $20 balance, and there it is plugged in. Okay, so we're going to put all the rest of them up there, and they're totaled. So all I did was move across debit minus credit. Nothing plus this equals that. Debit and a debit, we're adding, there's my balance. So now this column is called the adjusted trial balance. And of course it matches. So next we're going to move to, from here on, we're just going to copy to the right. Okay. We're going to copy. So now I've got an income statement and balance sheet. So this is my total, 10 columns total. On an income statement, we're only going to move from revenue and expenses account over. And to the income statement, we're going to move to the balance sheet, we're only going to move balance sheet accounts over. Okay, so here's what it looks like. I'm going to just go ahead and move my revenue and expenses. Hold on, I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so there are my assets. There's my contra asset. There's my liabilities. I'm just copying over. There's my capital. There's my drawing. All of these accounts are on a balance sheet except this one. The rest of these accounts are in the income statement. So here's my revenue, here's my expenses, and complete it. There's my columns. Notice these two do not balance. Okay? But, so what I need to do is take, so this represents all of my revenues, this represents all of my expenses. So when I take my revenue minus my expenses, I get a net income of $1,015. So I'm going to plug it in to both of these areas. I'm just moving quickly ahead. Okay. When I finish, here's what it's going to look like. Okay. So this concludes how a 10-column worksheet should be done. All 10 columns need to be filled out. And this concludes Chapter 5 video lectures.